Whatever in love means. That's what the Prince of Wales said at his own engagement press conference, February 24th, 1981. A reporter had just asked the most natural question in the world, "Are you in love?" Diana, 20 years old, answered immediately. "Of course," she said, laughing. Then the camera turned to Charles. He paused, and he said, "Whatever in love means." Diana's smile didn't quite disappear, but if you watch the footage, and millions have, you can see something shift behind her eyes, a flicker, the first crack. He had proposed 18 days earlier, February 6, 1981, Windsor Castle. It wasn't romantic, it was procedural. Charles had been under pressure from his father, Prince Philip, who had written to him urging a decision, either propose or let the girl go, because the press attention was destroying her reputation. So Charles proposed, not because he was overwhelmed by love, because it was time. Diana said yes. Of course she said yes. She was 20. She was marrying the future King of England. She believed, genuinely, desperately believed, that she could make him love her, that whatever doubts he had would dissolve once they were together. She was wrong. The engagement period should have been the happiest time of her life. Instead, it was when everything began to unravel. She moved into Buckingham Palace, alone. Charles was away on royal duties for weeks at a time. Diana had no friends in the palace, no allies, no role, nothing to do. She wandered the corridors. She ate alone. The staff were polite but distant, and some of them, she would later learn, reported everything she said and did back to the household. And then she found the bracelet. Weeks before the wedding, Diana discovered that Charles had ordered a gold bracelet engraved with the letters G and F, Girl Friday, his nickname for Camilla Parker Bowles. He was giving a farewell gift to the woman he actually loved, right before marrying the woman he'd chosen. Diana confronted him. She was told she was being silly. She was told she was overreacting. The bulimia started during the engagement, not after the wedding. Not after the honeymoon. During the engagement. The stress, the loneliness, the creeping realization that she had made a terrible mistake. It manifested in her body. She began binge eating and purging, sometimes 4 or 5 times a day. Her waist shrank from 29 inches to 23 inches between the engagement and the wedding. People noticed she was getting thinner. They complimented her. She told her sisters she couldn't go through with it. She wanted to call it off. They told her it was too late. "Your face is on the tea towels," they said. "It's too late to back out now." July 29th, 1981, St. Paul's Cathedral. 750 million people watched on television worldwide. It was called the Wedding of the Century. Diana, in a dress with a 25-foot train designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel, walked down a 3.5-minute aisle to marry a man who had told the world he wasn't sure what love meant. She was 20 years old. She was marrying into the most powerful family in Britain, and she was already sick. The honeymoon began on the royal yacht Britannia, a Mediterranean cruise that should have been paradise. It was a disaster. On one of the first nights, Diana noticed Charles's cufflinks. They were engraved with 2 intertwined C's. Not C for Charles, 2 C's for Charles and Camilla. He was wearing another woman's initials on his honeymoon. When Diana confronted him, he dismissed her. And then Camilla called on the yacht. During the honeymoon, Charles took the call. Diana would later say she cried herself to sleep on that boat. The crew didn't know what to do. They had never seen anything like it. The Princess of Wales, alone in her cabin, weeping, while her husband read books and painted watercolors on deck. After the cruise, they went to Balmoral, the Queen's Scottish estate. More isolation. Charles went fishing and shooting. Diana sat in the castle. She found photographs of Camilla in Charles's diary. She found letters. Camilla was everywhere. In his belongings, in his schedule, in his thoughts. The bulimia intensified. Diana was purging constantly. She was losing weight rapidly. She was 20 years old, newly married, living in a palace, and completely alone. And then she was pregnant. William Arthur Philip Lewis was born on June 21st, 1982. The heir, the future king. Diana had done what was expected of her. She had produced a son. The birth was complicated. Diana suffered severe postnatal depression. She couldn't stop crying. She felt disconnected from herself, from the baby, from everything. The palace's response was silence. Postnatal depression was not discussed. It was not treated. It was not even acknowledged. Diana was expected to recover, smile, appear at engagements, and perform her role. She was falling apart, and the institution's answer was, carry on. Charles, by multiple accounts, was already emotionally absent. The fairy tale that 750 million people had watched was behind closed doors, already dead. Diana was trapped in a palace with a man who loved someone else, surrounded by staff who reported to the institution, suffering from bulimia and depression that no one would name, let alone treat. She was 21 years old. She had a newborn son, and she was starting to fall apart in ways that would only get worse, much worse, before anyone would listen. Next time on Diana, she threw herself down a flight of stairs. She was pregnant. Her husband watched and expressed no emotion.